Hello, and welcome to Living English. Last time in our drama, Anne got a letter from her brother telling her that he doesn't want her to look for him. Today, Anne gets advice from the professor about what she should do.
Here.
I don't know what to do.
I think you should go to the police.
But he says I shouldn't look for him.
Yes, well, he might have felt that way then, but a year's a long time. If I were you, I'd report your brother missing.
Should I tell my parents about the letter?
Oh, your poor parents. They must be so worried. I think you should tell them what you know.
What if I can't find him?
Have faith. I'm sure you will. You know your brother. You'll find him. I'll show you out. Well, good luck, Miss Lee.
I don't know what else to do.
Why don't you advertise in a newspaper? Put a photograph of your brother there. Somebody might recognize him.
Good, I hadn't thought of that.
My advice is never give up.
Thank you for your help.
When you find your brother, say hello to him for me.
I will.
So Anne will keep looking for her brother. The professor, Graham, told Anne some things she could do to find her brother. Telling people things in this way is called giving advice or making suggestions. Let's listen to the advice Graham gives Anne.
I think you should go to the police.
Graham makes it clear that this is his opinion by saying, I think. It's what he thinks is the best thing to do. What other word does he use that shows that he is giving advice? Listen again.
I think you should go to the police.
He says should. We use should to give advice or make suggestions. Try saying, I think you should go to the police with him.
I think you should go to the police.
Another way of saying this is, I think you ought to go to the police. Ought to has the same meaning as should. We use it for things we think are good or right to do. What word do we use for things that are wrong to do? Listen.
But he says I shouldn't look for him.
The opposite of should is shouldn't or should not. We use it to advise against doing things, such as you shouldn't smoke. We can also use should in questions if we're asking for advice. Listen to Anne.
Should I tell my parents about the letter?
Notice that when we ask a question, should comes before the pronoun, words like I and you. When you say should after a pronoun, such as I should tell my parents, it's a statement, saying what you think is the right thing to do. When you say should before should I tell my parents, it's a question, asking if that is the right thing to do. Let's listen to Graham's answer.
Oh, your poor parents. They must be so worried. I think you should tell them what you know.
Again, Graham gives his advice in the same way. I think you should. Now it's your turn to give me some advice. I'm hungry. What should I do? I think you should eat something. I'm thirsty. What should I do? I think you should drink something. My hair is too long. What should I do? I think you should have a haircut. Should Anne keep looking for her brother? I think Anne should keep looking for her brother. Graham suggests some ways that Anne can keep looking. Listen.
Why don't you advertise in a newspaper? Put a photograph of your brother there. Somebody might recognize him.
Graham says, why don't you? This is not a question he wants an answer to. It's a way of offering a suggestion or an idea. Why don't you advertise in the newspaper? Say it with Graham.
Why don't you advertise in a newspaper?
Anne doesn't answer yes or no. She just accepts the advice. Listen.
Good, I hadn't thought of that.
Here's Michelle. Hello, Michelle.
Hello, Brenton. Hello, everyone.
What should we do today?
Why don't we look at how to give advice?
What about?
How to look after a plant. I just happen to have a plant here.
Well, what do you need to do to keep a plant like this alive?
You have to water it. If you don't water it, it will die.
You have to. That means you have no choice. It's the only thing to do. What's another way of saying have to?
Must. You must water the plant to keep it alive.
What else must you do?
Well, you can just water it and it will live for a long time. But if you want it to look healthy and keep growing, you should feed it.
Feed it?
Give it fertiliser. You should give it fertiliser, like this. In the water every month or so.
Oh. Well, what else should you do?
You should put it in a bigger pot when it's grown a bit more.
Thanks for that advice, Michelle. And now let's listen to some more good advice from Graham.
My advice is never give up.
Never give up. What does that mean, Brenton?
It means don't stop trying or keep going.
Let's keep going with what to do with plants. See if you can remember. You water a plant. You must water a plant.
You could also say that you have to water a plant.
Yes, and you feed a plant. You should feed a plant. Sometimes you put it in a bigger pot. You should put it in a bigger pot.
I just remembered something.
What?
I should have watered my plants at home.
You don't have to water them every day. You can do it when you get home. But you've shown us that you can use should to talk about the past as well as giving advice about the future.
How?
You said, I should have watered my plants. We say should have for things that would have been good to do in the past.
Oh, like saying, I should have stopped smoking years ago.
Yes. We use should have to say we regret something or we wish we had done something.
Like saying when you've done badly in an exam, I should have studied more. Or when the car stops going, I should have put fuel in the car.
Yes. And what do you say about this? Someone watered it. Someone should have watered it.
Now let's think about another word that sounds like should. See if you can hear it in this clip.
If I were you, I'd report your brother missing.
I'd means I would. He said he would report her brother missing.
Yes, and he also says, if I were you.
What does that mean?
It's a way of giving advice again. He means that it's what he would do if it were his problem. Listen again.
If I were you, I'd report your brother missing.
Let's practice using the phrase, if I were you, about the plant. You give me your advice. First, about watering the plant. If I were you,
If I were you, I would water the plant.
Next, about feeding the plant. If I were you,
If I were you, I would feed the plant.
let's say I'm sick.
Oh.
I should go home to bed. What would you say to me? If I were you,
If I were you, I would go home to bed.
let's say I'm thirsty. I should drink some water. What would you say? If I were you,
If I were you, I would drink some water. Would is a form of will. Remember that we use will for things we are going to do.
yes. We use will for things we intend to do. We use would in a similar way, but to talk about situations we wish or imagine were going to happen.
The professor isn't going to report her brother missing. It's not something he will do. It's something he imagines he would do if he was in the same situation as Anne.
Now see if you can use the right word, will or would. I wish it stopped raining. I wish it would stop raining. I drive home later. I will drive home later. It be good to be very rich. It would be good to be very rich. You can also use will to reassure someone, to make them feel better about what is going to happen. Listen to Graham reassure Anne.
What if I can't find him?
Have faith. I'm sure you will. You know your brother. You'll find him.
Graham uses will in this way to say to Anne that he is sure she will find her brother.
Today, we learnt some of the things to say when giving advice and how to use the words should and would.
Next time, we'll find out what to say when you're giving your opinion about something and the words we use to compare things.
Until then, enjoy another look at today's episode of Sisters and Brothers. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know what to do.
I think you should go to the police.
But he says I shouldn't look for him.
Yes, well, he might have felt that way then, but a year's a long time. If I were you, I'd report your brother missing.
Should I tell my parents about the letter?
Oh, your poor parents. They must be so worried. I think you should tell them what you know.
What if I can't find him?
Have faith. I'm sure you will. You know your brother. You'll find him. I'll show you out. Well, good luck, Miss Lee.
I don't know what else to do.
Why don't you advertise in a newspaper? Put a photograph of your brother there. Somebody might recognize him.
Good, I hadn't thought of that.
My advice is never give up.
Thank you for your help.
When you find your brother, say hello to him for me.
I will.